Welcome to the Bible Quiz. Today, we're excited to bring you 25 hand-picked Bible trivia questions designed especially for you. Whether you're a seasoned Bible reader or just beginning your journey, these questions will challenge and inspire your knowledge of the Scriptures. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Your support helps us create more faith-building content and keeps you connected to our latest quizzes. We love hearing from you, so be sure to share your score and thoughts in the comments below. See how well you know the Bible. Let's get started. Question 1. How many people were on the ship when Paul was bound for Italy? A. 50. B. 76. C. 100. D. 276. You get 10 seconds. That's D. 276. There were 276 people on the ship when Paul was sailing to Italy as a prisoner. Acts chapter 27, verse 37. During the perilous journey, the ship encountered a violent storm that led to a shipwreck. However, through divine assurance, Paul encouraged everyone on board that their lives would be spared. The survival of all passengers illustrates God's protection over Paul and the fulfillment of his purpose. Question 2. What did King Jeroboam make for the people to worship? A. A silver idol. B. A golden calf. C. A carved lion. D. A bronze serpent. You get 10 seconds. That's B. A golden calf. Fearing that worship in Jerusalem would lead to the people's loyalty returning to King David's line, Jeroboam set up idols in Bethel and Dan, leading Israel into idolatry. His actions represented a significant turning point, steering the northern kingdom away from true worship and igniting a long history of spiritual decline. 1 Kings chapter 12, verses 28 to 30. Question 3. What Jew who was born at Alexandria, an eloquent man and mighty in the Scriptures, came to Ephesus? A. Paul. B. Timothy. C. Apollos. D. Barnabas. You get 10 seconds. That's C. Apollos. Although he initially only knew about the baptism of John, Priscilla and Aquila taught him more accurately about Jesus. Apollos later became a powerful preacher of the gospel, contributing to the growth of the early church with his passion and knowledge of the Scriptures. Acts chapter 18, verse 24. Question 4. Who did Joseph's brothers sell him to? A. Egyptian traders. B. Midianite traders. C. Canaanite traders. D. Ammonite merchants. You get 10 seconds. That's B. Midianite traders. Joseph's brothers sold him to a group of Midianite traders who then took him to Egypt. Genesis chapter 37, verse 28. This act of betrayal by his brothers set in motion a series of events that led to Joseph's rise to power in Egypt. His eventual forgiveness and reconciliation with his family reflect God's ability to bring good out of even the darkest circumstances. Question 5. Who was the man in Lydda who was healed after being sick of the palsy for 8 years? A. Aeneas. B. Simon. C. Dorcas. D. Ananias. You get 10 seconds. That's A. Aeneas. Peter's words, "Jesus Christ heals you," immediately restored Aeneas, leading many in Lydda and Sharon to turn to the Lord. This miracle showcases the continued power of Jesus working through his apostles to bring healing and conversion. Acts chapter 9, verses 32 to 34. Friendly reminder: subscribe now to keep up with the latest updates and exciting content coming your way. Question 6. Who did Jesus say should cast the first stone when a woman was caught in adultery? A. The highest priest. B. The judge of the city. C. The one without sin. D. The witness of the act. You get 10 seconds. That's C, the one without sin. When a woman was caught in adultery, Jesus said, "Let the one who is without sin cast the first stone," John chapter 8, verse 7. His response not only saved the woman from being stoned, but also exposed the hypocrisy of her accusers. This powerful moment highlights Jesus' message of mercy, forgiveness, and self-reflection, urging people to consider their sins before condemning others. Question 7. What did the Israelites use to mark their doors during the Passover? A. Honey. B. Red dye. C. Olive oil. D. Lamb's blood. You get 10 seconds. That's D. Lamb's blood. God instructed them to smear the blood on the doorposts and lintels of their houses so that the angel of death would pass over and spare their firstborns. This event marked the beginning of the Exodus from Egypt and symbolizes God's protection and deliverance. Exodus chapter 12, verse 7. Question 8. What was the name of the high priest who served during the reign of King David? A. Eli. B. Zadok. C. Abiathar. D. Ahimelech. You get 10 seconds. That's B. Zadok. Along with Abiathar, Zadok played a crucial role in David's reign and the consolidation of his kingdom. He remained loyal to David during Absalom's rebellion and later anointed Solomon as king. Zadok's priestly line continued to serve in the temple after David's reign, symbolizing the continuity of worship in Israel. 2 Samuel chapter 8, verse 17. Question 9. In which book of the Bible is the Song of Solomon found? A. Psalms. B. Proverbs. C. Ecclesiastes. D. Song of Songs. You get 10 seconds. That's D, Song of Songs. The Song of Solomon is found in the book of the same name, also known as the Song of Songs, Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 1. This poetic book is a series of love songs between a bride and groom, often interpreted as an allegory of the love between God and His people, or Christ and the Church. It celebrates the beauty of love and relationship, both in the human and divine context. Question 10. Who was the king of Moab during the time of the prophet Elisha? A. Mesha. B. Balak. C. Eglon. D. Jehoshaphat. You get 10 seconds. That's A. Mesha. Mesha was the king of Moab during the time of the prophet Elisha, 2 Kings chapter 3, verse 4. He rebelled against Israel after King Ahab's death, leading to a military campaign by the kings of Israel, Judah, and Edom. Elisha's involvement in the battle and the miraculous provision of water for the armies highlight God's intervention on behalf of Israel, though the Moabites eventually resisted. Question 11. What was the name of the city that Joshua cursed and its walls fell? A. Ai. B. Bethel. C. Jericho. D. Hebron. You get 10 seconds. That's C. Jericho. After the Israelites, led by Joshua, marched around the city for 7 days, the walls of Jericho miraculously collapsed, allowing them to conquer it. Joshua pronounced a curse on anyone who would attempt to rebuild the city, symbolizing God's judgment on its inhabitants and reinforcing His power in fulfilling His promises to Israel. Joshua chapter 6, verse 26. Question 12. Who was the prophetess who judged Israel and led them to victory over the Canaanites? A. Esther. B. Huldah. C. Miriam. D. Deborah. You get 10 seconds. That's D. Deborah. She was a wise leader and, with the military help of Barak, defeated the army of Sisera. Deborah's leadership and faith in God stand as a powerful example of divine guidance and female leadership in the history of Israel. Judges chapter 4, verses 4 to 9. Question 13. What was the name of the Persian king who issued the decree allowing Jews to return to Jerusalem? A. Cyrus. B. Darius. C. Xerxes. D. Artaxerxes. You get 10 seconds. That's A. Cyrus. Cyrus was the Persian king who issued the decree allowing the Jews to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple, Ezra chapter 1, verses 1 to 4. His proclamation fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah and marked a pivotal moment in Jewish history, as the exiled people were allowed to return to their homeland. Cyrus's decree underscores God's sovereignty over nations and His plan to restore His people. Question 14. What did the Apostle Paul use as a metaphor for his mission work in 1 Corinthians? A. A farmer. B. A soldier. C. A builder. D. An athlete. You get 10 seconds. That's D. An athlete. Paul used the metaphor of an athlete to describe his mission work in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 24 to 27. Paul emphasized the need for self-control, perseverance, and dedication to fulfilling God's calling, much like how an athlete trains to achieve victory. This metaphor highlights the importance of spiritual commitment and focus in the pursuit of spreading the gospel and living a faithful life. Question 15. Which Old Testament figure was given a new name by Pharaoh, meaning revealer of secrets? A. Daniel. B. Joseph. C. Moses. D. Abraham. You get 10 seconds. That's B. Joseph. Joseph was given a new name by Pharaoh Zaphenath-Paneah, which means revealer of secrets, Genesis chapter 41, verse 45. After interpreting Pharaoh's dreams about the coming years of plenty and famine, Joseph was elevated to a position of power in Egypt. His new name reflects his role as a wise interpreter of dreams and his crucial leadership in saving Egypt and surrounding nations during the famine. Question 16. Which of the following was not one of the original 12 apostles? A. Paul. B. Simon. C. Thomas. D. Matthew. You get 10 seconds. That's A. Paul. Though Paul became one of the most influential apostles, spreading the gospel to the Gentiles, he was not part of the 12 chosen by Jesus during his ministry. Paul encountered Jesus after his resurrection in a dramatic conversion on the road to Damascus, marking the beginning of his mission as an apostle. Acts chapter 9, verses 1 to 19. Question 17. Who was the king of Judah during the time of the prophet Isaiah? A. Ahaz. B. Josiah. C. Hezekiah. D. Manasseh. You get 10 seconds. That's C. Hezekiah. Hezekiah is known for his religious reforms, trust in God, and for seeking Isaiah's counsel when the Assyrians threatened Jerusalem. His reign saw miraculous deliverance from the Assyrian army as Isaiah prophesied God's protection over Judah. Hezekiah's relationship with Isaiah is a key aspect of his righteous reign and faithfulness to God. 2 Kings chapter 18, verses 1 to 3. Question 18. Which king of Israel asked for a sign from God by having a fleece wet with dew while the ground was dry? A. Saul. B. Gideon. C. Jephthah. D. Solomon. You get 10 seconds. That's B. Gideon. This sign was a demonstration of God's assurance to Gideon that he would give Israel victory over the Midianites. Gideon's request for further confirmation of God's presence shows both his faith and his need for reassurance during a time of great fear and uncertainty for Israel. Judges chapter 6, verses 36 to 40. Question 19. Which prophet's wife was a prostitute, used as a symbol of Israel's unfaithfulness? A. Amos. B. Isaiah. C. Hosea. D. Jeremiah. You get 10 seconds. That's C. Hosea. The prophet Hosea was commanded by God to marry a prostitute, Gomer, as a symbol of Israel's unfaithfulness. Hosea chapter 1 verses 2 to 3. Gomer's infidelity represented Israel's spiritual adultery in turning away from God and worshiping idols. Hosea's relationship with Gomer became a living parable, reflecting God's enduring love and willingness to forgive Israel despite their repeated betrayal. Question 20. Which king of Judah sought the help of the Assyrians against Israel and then had his treasures stolen by them? A. Ahaz. B. Hezekiah. C. Manasseh. D. Jehoshaphat. You get 10 seconds. That's A. Ahaz. Ahaz, the king of Judah, sought the help of the Assyrians against Israel and Syria, but in return he had his treasures taken by them. 2 Kings chapter 16 verses 7 to 9. Ahaz's reliance on a foreign power instead of trusting in God led to both spiritual and political consequences for Judah. His actions showed a lack of faith, which contrasted with the trust shown by other righteous kings of Judah. Stay with us until the end of the video to see how many Bible quiz questions you got right. Don't forget to note your score and share it with us in the comments section. Let's explore and learn more about the Bible with these fun and interesting questions. Question 21. In which book of the Bible is the prophecy of the 4 horsemen found? A. Daniel. B. Ezekiel. C. Zechariah. D. Revelation. You get 10 seconds. That's D. Revelation. The 4 horsemen represent conquest, war, famine, and death, symbolizing the onset of divine judgment on the world. This vivid imagery is part of John's apocalyptic vision, revealing future events related to the end times and the ultimate triumph of God's kingdom. Revelation chapter 6 verses 1 to 8. Question 22. Who was the Apostle Paul's mentor and teacher before his conversion? A. Silas. B. Apollos. C. Gamaliel. D. Barnabas. You get 10 seconds. That's C. Gamaliel. Gamaliel was a respected Pharisee and a renowned teacher of the law. Paul, known as Saul before his conversion, was deeply trained in Jewish law and traditions under Gamaliel's guidance. This rigorous education gave Paul a strong foundation in the Scriptures, which he later used to preach the gospel after his dramatic conversion to Christianity. Acts chapter 22, verse 3. Question 23. Which book of the Bible focuses on the theme of human suffering and the quest for understanding? A. Job. B. Proverbs. C. Ecclesiastes. D. Lamentations. You get 10 seconds. That's A. Job. Job, a righteous man, experiences immense suffering, losing his family, wealth, and health. Throughout the book, he grapples with the reasons for his suffering and the nature of God's justice. The book of Job explores the complexity of faith during trials and ultimately emphasizes God's sovereignty and wisdom. Job chapters 1 to 42. Question 24. Which king did God promise an everlasting throne in Israel? A. Saul. B. David. C. Hezekiah. D. Solomon. You get 10 seconds. That's B. David. This promise, known as the Davidic Covenant, assured David that his lineage would rule forever, ultimately fulfilled through Jesus Christ, the Messiah. This covenant was central to Israel's hopes for a future king and the establishment of God's eternal kingdom. 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 16. Question 25. Who was the prophet that challenged 450 prophets of Baal to a contest on Mount Carmel? A. Jeremiah. B. Elisha. C. Isaiah. D. Elijah. You get 10 seconds. That's D. Elijah. In 1 Kings chapter 18, verses 20 to 40, Elijah called on the prophets of Baal to summon fire from their God. But when they failed, Elijah prayed to the Lord and fire came down from heaven, consuming his offering. This event demonstrated the power of the one true God and exposed the falsehood of Baal worship, leading to a turning point for Israel. Great job! How did you do with these 25 Bible trivia questions crafted just for you? Whether you scored high or learned something new, remember that studying God's Word is always rewarding. If you enjoyed the quiz, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Let's keep spreading the joy of biblical learning together. Don't forget to subscribe for more fun quizzes and deep dives into the Bible. Thanks for joining us today. See you in the next video.